We're learning more information about the victims and suspect involved in yesterday's stabbings in Somerset. Two former Minneapolis police officers charged in George Floyd's death have rejected a plea deal. After battling shortages, Christina Van Zell shows us how bus staffing isn't looking so great this year. Community members came out to show their support of an Elk Mound teen battling a rare, fast-spreading bone cancer. A 14-year-old is facing charges in adult court for what the district attorney says was an intentional act. So far, election officials say voter turnout is lower than expected. I'm here near Leinenkugel's parking lot, where in the background you can see investigators are still working tonight. The Eau Claire Area School District is in the final phases of approving a referendum question for November's election. Its focus is on updating and adding to a handful of school buildings. Around 9 last night, the Chippewa Falls Police Department received a call that Ileana Lily Peters hadn't returned home after visiting her aunt on North Grove Street. Officers found her bicycle near the woods of a walking trail between that street and the Leinenkugel Brewery's parking lot. Monday morning, first responders found her body. That was at the point that we made the decision to transition that. So I can't speak as to what the evidence is or specifics as to that decision making, but why we went to that decision, but that was at that time. With no suspect in custody, the Chippewa Falls police chief is urging the community to use extra caution. Chippewa Falls is a safe community. This is a very rare occurrence. However, we have to be cognizant to the fact that it will require some additional vigilance here today. Kelm said Monday afternoon that Leinenkugel's is helping the investigation. A statement on behalf of the brewery says, "This is an unspeakable, heartbreaking tragedy, and we want to express our deepest condolences to the family and friends of the victim. We are working with the authorities and providing the help and support we can." As for community members, they're trying to make sense of Lily Peters' death.
This poor little 10-year-old girl. Just, like, who does that, It just is so hard. And everybody that I know and don't know are messaging me saying, watch your kids.
Amanda Boehm has lived in Chippewa Falls her whole life. As they heard the news, Boehm and her children decided to pay tribute to the 10-year-old.
My kids were with me, and let's go, they said purple. So we went out and we colored her name and let people know, hey, kids live here, and we will be on alert.
At Parkview Elementary School, where Lily was a 4th grader, a sign, a teddy bear, and some flowers are remembering her. In another part of the city, community members had the chance to come and pray at Valley Vineyard Church.
We wanted it as a spot for the community to gather together. There's something about things in community that helps than being alone. The worst thing tonight to do is to be alone, because grief alone is actually dangerous. Grief together allows the process of healing to start, or at least a place to have and be grounded.
He was a larger-than-life personality, if I had to say anything. He had many, many friends.
Nick was a 6-foot, 200-some-pound man, and he had the heart of a teddy bear.
Catherine Frederick and Wendy Buck both lost their sons, Nick and Sam, to drug overdoses in 2017.
Sam died alone, and it was, I wasn't expecting the call, but I'm a parent that got that call.
Frederick says Sam's addiction began in high school, spiraling from marijuana use to different drugs, including opioids. For Buck's son, Nick, it began with a prescription.
Started when he used to be doing roofing, and he fell off a roof and hurt his back. And of course went to the doctor, and they prescribed some OxyContin.
As a nationwide lawsuit works its way through the courts against the makers of opioids, states and counties across the country will be receiving millions of dollars in a settlement. In Eau Claire, the county expects to receive around $3.3 million during 18 years.
It still has to go through the court process, so it's not finalized yet. Right now, we're anticipating that sometime in 2022, we'll receive potentially 2 payments of around $137,000 each.
Eau Claire County Administrator Catherine Schaff says the settlement money will go toward opioid and other drug abatement programs. Each county is given a list of what the settlement money can be used on. Schaff says the county is creating a task force to help decide how the money should be spent.
It's going to be whichever approach is determined to give us the best result for the people in our community. And so we'll base it on the known needs of our community.
For Buck and Frederick, they hope to see money spent on things like making overdose reversal drugs like Narcan more accessible, as well as education, treatment, and mentorship programs for those in recovery.
I think we all as a community need to take an active role because, like I say, it could be your son or daughter or husband or wife or somebody, a loved one.
I'm just an average working mom. And if it can happen in my family, it can happen to anyone's family. And that hole it doesn't go away. You can't refill that.
This classroom at UW River Falls is filled with climbing towers, toys, and two furry friends, Weezer and Joe.
A lot of the times these cats come here and they're scared because they've been in a shelter and they're only in a kennel and they haven't really been socialized. They're strays or they're unwanted cats, and so they don't really know what's going on.
That's where students like Grace Behrens come in. As part of the Advanced Canine and Feline Management class at UW River Falls, the students run the Falcon Feline Adoption Program. It started as an idea by the class's professor, who's been partnering with the Dunn County Humane Society for around 8 years. Students work to socialize and care for cats like Joe from the shelter.
It's fantastic to see these cats that I sent up here from the shelter that would hide in the back of their cage. Now they're walking around and jumping on couches and, coming right up to people. It's just fantastic. It gives me goosebumps just talking about it.
Some of those cats Jamie Wagner with the Dunn County Humane Society has sent to River Falls have required special diets or needed a little extra care. She says the students have been up to the task. Since its start in October, the students helped 11 cats find their forever homes. That's one of the best parts for student Allie Thumhoff.
Seeing the follow through with the cats from when they first get here to seeing them go to their forever homes, it's been so fulfilling.
To get to that point, she says it takes collaboration from across the campus and the community. Every Wednesday afternoon, any student and even community members can come meet the cats.
One day we had 40 students come in here at one time, and it was amazing to see everyone come in here, and we had to cycle through people and limit people's time because there's so many people in here.
While the Falcon Feline Adoption Program plans to take a break for the summer, it hopes to return in the fall.